Hi all you special friends, welcome to my what I ate this week for dinner. A lot of these meals were leftovers, so there wasn't as many. I believe it's only 3 meals this week. It made a lot of leftovers. My first is a semi-homemade chicken pot pie, and this is delicious. I think I was explaining this in the clip, but I kind of sounded a little dull, so I just thought I would do a quick voiceover. I did a pie crust from Aldi's, a chicken gravy packet to give a little more flavor to the cream of chicken soups, peas and carrots that were frozen, but again, any veggie will do. I did a little bit of onion. I poached my chicken this time, which I don't always love to do, but it was just quick and easy this day, and I did a little bit of frozen potatoes. So I really hope you enjoy all these meals. They're great for wintertime because they will keep you full and delicious. They'll keep you full and they're delicious, and I will see you next time, guys. So the first meal is so ridiculously easy that you could even make it the night before and stick it in your refrigerator, especially if you're super busy, and then just put it right in the oven the next day. You could choose any frozen vegetables that you want. Peas and carrots are just so simple and easy, and they're kind of mild flavor, so they go with everything. And then I just did some frozen potatoes. You could definitely use fresh ingredients. I have in the past. I've used leftovers from holidays, but this is just so simple and easy, especially because my husband works super late, and it just makes for a warm, delicious meal. So I just am breaking up the potatoes and getting all the veggies together to add the rest of my ingredients. Like I said before, I usually like to grill, or I like to saute my chicken just to give it a little extra flavor, but there's nothing wrong with poaching it. And I'm just here shredding it a little bit smaller so they're bite-sized pieces. It was extremely hot, so I'm not really sure why I was touching it, but here I am just trying to mix everything. I wish I had done this in a bigger bowl. I'm not sure what I was thinking, except I was rushing that day, and I'm just getting all the ingredients incorporated. I'm going to cut up I believe this was a sweet onion, and you could use any kind of onion you want, or you don't have to use onion at all. I just love the flavor onion gives, and I'm going to cut it up really, really small and add it to the rest of the ingredients. Here I am adding 2 cans of cream of chicken. Cream of chicken is very, very hard to find right now for some reason. I don't love the Fit and Active. It's not bad, especially if you are watching your weight, or I believe that's what it's for. It does have a little less flavor, in my opinion, than like Campbell's or even like a Walmart brand one. It's really not bad. There's nothing wrong with it, but I do notice that it's just a little less flavorful than most. But honestly, it's the only one I could find at Aldi's as of right now. Because the cream of chicken isn't as flavorful, I am adding a little bit of a chicken gravy packet, and it just adds the flavor, a little more flavor. And because my veggies were still a little frozen, I'm not going to add any extra liquid. And then you can season it with any seasoning you want. I just did a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of black pepper. I don't salt my food a lot. I let other people salt it as they like to. Obviously, I do add salt to some dishes, but some stuff I feel like it doesn't always need it, or you can always add it at the end. I seem to have lost a clip for when I put it into the pie crust, but basically I just stir it really, really well. I preheat my oven to about 375, and I put it in a store-bought pie crust, but you could use homemade pie crust, whatever you feel fit. And I baked this for about an hour till it's all nice and brown, and I did an egg wash on top. This here is probably my favorite meal of all times. What you're gonna need is 2 or 1 kielbasas, depending on how many family members you have, a bag of coleslaw, but you could get cabbage, an onion, and some egg noodles. So I'm gonna cut up my kielbasa into a little bigger than bite size, but you could definitely do them smaller, bigger. You don't have to cut it at all, whatever you feel fit for your family. So I'm just cutting them in pretty big pieces. I probably should have cut them a little bit smaller because we end up cutting them in our bowls anyway, but for next time I'll definitely do that. Next, I'm just going to cut up a white onion, and I like the white onion because it's got a mild taste to it. It's not too strong like a yellow onion in my opinion. So I'm just going to again cut it in bite-sized pieces so that I can saute it in a little bit of olive oil with my kielbasa. You can definitely skip the extra virgin olive oil. I love it because it gives such a nice flavor to my pasta because I'm not adding any sauce to this. I'm just going to saute up the kielbasa and the onion, and it just gives such an amazing flavor to your pasta. But you certainly can add anything you would like, butter if you would like, but I love the taste of the olive oil. And I'm going to saute this till I start to notice that the kielbasa is getting a little brown and toasty and the onion is cooked through. It's so delicious and fragrant. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my bacon grease that I save. Anytime I cook bacon, I put it in a container. I really should probably put it in a glass storage container, but for now, this is what I have. And I'm going to add a couple drops to my pan so that I can saute my cabbage in this, and it just gives it such an amazing flavor. A lot of people do this when they make fried cabbage and noodles, this is basically a very similar dish, just a shortcut where I didn't shred my own cabbage. Once the bacon grease has completely melted, I add my coleslaw mix. Again, this is just cabbage. I think it's green cabbage, red cabbage, and a little bit of carrots. It's so delicious this way. And I'll saute this for probably about 10 minutes. I like mine to have a little bit of crunch, but you can make it as soft as you would like. It gets tender pretty quickly, and it's so delicious this way. And that bacon grease gives it a little bit, sorry, it gives it a lot of flavor. You can add salt, pepper, garlic powder, anything you like. I add a little bit of salt and pepper because the bacon grease, in my opinion, just gives it such delicious flavor. In the background, I have my pot of water on with just a little bit of salt in it, and I'm going to cook up my egg noodles. You could definitely pair this with any kind of pasta you like. I just feel like the egg noodles are just really a perfect pair with this particular meal. But again, if you had anything else on hand, it would work just as well. And egg noodles are really inexpensive. You can get a bag at Aldi's for like $1.19. This whole meal is quite inexpensive, so I really, really love the egg noodles and really recommend to pair them with this. So sort of like spinach, cabbage kind of wilts down and it looks a lot more than it was. I could have cooked 2 bags and had leftovers for the next day, but this was plenty for this particular meal. But it definitely cooks down, so keep that in mind when you are cooking for your family, and not sure how much you'll need for your particular family. But this is about 10 minutes and it has definitely gone down about half in size. So I'm just gonna add my egg noodles right to the kielbasa and onion. It gives it so much flavor, and then I add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, just a little extra of that, just to give the pasta some more flavor and keep it from sticking. But that kielbasa, after sauteing it, it has a little bit of juices on the bottom and it just flavors your pasta really well. How I typically plate this is I just will put some in a bowl, and then I'll just add the cabbage right on top and then mix it as you like, or you could just eat it with it on top. I like to mix it in, but that's how we serve it, and it is so good. My next meal is just good old-fashioned meatloaf. It's my daughter's favorite. I do ketchup, Italian-style breadcrumbs. Any breadcrumbs will do. Just some minced garlic. You could do fresh garlic, any kind of garlic you like. 1 egg, but I think I ended up using 2 because I had a lot of meat. An onion, some onion soup mix, 2 pounds of ground beef, but you could do anything. You could do ground pork if you wanted, turkey, anything you like. And I believe that was all my ingredients, plus salt, pepper, and onion and garlic powder. So here I am putting all the ingredients in a bowl, and I'm going to get it all mushed together. I'm going to do 2 pounds of ground beef, but again, you could use anything you like. Here I'm adding about probably a tablespoon and a half of garlic. That's definitely up to your preference of how much or how little you like. Oops, I dropped that in the bowl. And then I'm doing an onion soup packet. This is something my grandmother did and my mother did. I'm sure there's many people that do this. It just gives it a nice oniony flavor, and I've always loved it that way. I just think it's really delicious, but you can definitely do fresh onion if you like. And I did about, I think, because I had extra meat, about a half a cup of ketchup. I'm not sure what the ketchup does, but I've always done it, so I'll continue to do it, and I do ketchup on top. I would love to try barbecue sauce on top of my meatloaf. I've never done it that way, but I'm sure it's very similar to the ketchup. I always crack my eggs on the side and kind of stir them up a little bit because I want to make sure they incorporate really well, because that's sort of like your binder for your meatloaf to keep everything together. So I add 1, and I believe I added 2 actually this time because I did have quite a bit of meat because I was making enough for leftovers for the next day. I always measure my salt, so I did about a teaspoon of salt, maybe a teaspoon and a fourth of salt, because of that onion soup mix. It is so salty. I don't ever add extra salt to this. And I'm gonna do about a cup of breadcrumbs, but I don't add them all at once because I like to kind of watch my meat to see how much it really needs. As I slowly add my breadcrumbs, I never overwork the meat. I try to just get it in as best as possible and then leave the meat alone so that it doesn't become tough. I've seen that in many other videos and many recipes, not to overwork your meat, so I try never to, and that's why I only add a little bit of breadcrumb at a time and fold it in until I feel like it is going to bind together really well. This was a huge meatloaf, bigger than I usually make. I cooked this at about 375 and it was about an hour and 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. I always use a meat thermometer, and here I am just sort of making it into a loaf shape. Then I cut up an onion, and I love putting onion on top. You could do tomatoes on top, you could do anything you like. And I only put a little bit of ketchup on the end for myself because my family doesn't love the ketchup on it. I love the ketchup because it almost caramelizes and gets really super sweet. Again, that's why I think I would love barbecue sauce on top of mine, but I'm just forming it as even as possible so it cooks evenly. And this was, again, a huge meatloaf, and I cooked it at 375 for about an hour and 10 to 15 minutes. I ended up serving it with some green beans because my husband loves them, some corn and mashed potatoes, your typical sides for meatloaf, sorry, and it was really delicious. I always grab these Bob Evans when I'm in a pinch. I do love homemade mashed potatoes, but these are so delicious and easy, especially if you're a mom who works.